Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I wanted to talk about reacting to the 3D reality. If something unexpected happens, something unwanted, undesirable happens in the 3D, and you reacted to it, what happens then? What do you do next? Does it matter? Does it not? What can you do to minimize any effect from the reaction? This is what we're going to discuss, so stay tuned. So first of all, let me clarify what we actually mean when we talk about reacting to the 3D. I think there can be a lot of confusion in the manifesting community about what reacting can actually mean, what it actually refers to. So I wanted to clarify this because it's important. So when we actually talk about reacting to the 3D reality, to something that happened in the 3D reality, something that someone said, something that someone did, or they didn't say, or they didn't do, or something unexpected happened, something you didn't want to happen, something that was opposite to what you're manifesting, whatever might have happened that made you react, what do we actually mean when we say react? What does this actually refer to? First and foremost, when we talk about reacting to the 3D, we're talking about internal reaction. We're talking about emotional reaction and mental reaction. We're not necessarily talking about how you reacted externally. Obviously, this doesn't mean that you may not have reacted externally as well in one way or another. Maybe you yelled, maybe you cried, maybe you got up and left, maybe you said things you didn't mean to say. Whatever it was, yes, you may have reacted externally, or maybe you didn't react externally at all. But the most important reaction that we're talking about, and what we actually mean when we're talking about reacting to the 3D, we're mainly talking about reacting internally, reacting mentally, and reacting emotionally. And what does this internal reaction actually mean? What does it look like? Maybe you got very triggered. Maybe you felt very discouraged, very disappointed, very sad, very surprised and taken aback. Maybe you started reacting mentally as well, repeating to yourself, repeating in your mind what just happened, what you just experienced, and starting to tell your mind that story that, oh, things happened this and this way, so it must be this and this and this way, and creating stories around what just happened in the 3D. All of this is an internal reaction, either mental or emotional or both, regardless of whether you actually reacted externally or not. Even if you didn't do or say anything externally, if you reacted internally, that counts as a reaction. Now, what do you actually do if you did react to the 3D, especially if you reacted internally, especially if you started spiraling internally, mentally, emotionally, if you started falling apart, if you started feeling discouraged, if you started building stories around whatever happened? What do you do about that? First of all, you take a step back, you take a deep breath or multiple deep breaths, and you tell yourself it's not a big deal. It's okay that you reacted. You don't blow it out of proportion any more than it should be blown out of proportion. Essentially, try to not give it too much importance, not too much weight. Try to just reduce its importance and its significance and just not dwell on the fact that you reacted. Tell yourself it's okay. Tell yourself you're human. Tell yourself it's normal to react sometimes, and just stop dwelling on the fact that you reacted. Stop fearing that it will actually create something bad, something negative, that it will make things worse, etc. So that's an important first step. Now here's the second step, which is actually more important, way more important than the initial reaction. And actually, it's the secret to not perpetuating the unwanted circumstance, the unwanted incident, event, words that were exchanged, meeting that you had, whatever it was that you didn't like that was opposing your manifestation. If you follow the second step, you can actually rest assured that the damage, quote unquote damage, is minimal. So after you've actually forgiven yourself and given yourself permission to react and told yourself that it's not a big deal and you haven't dwelled on the fact that you reacted, what you want to do next is actually stop the reaction there. Because the secret is not in actually not reacting at all initially. Yes, if you're able to remain indifferent from the get-go, from the moment whatever happened happens, that's great, that's wonderful. And actually the more advanced you become, the easier this is going to become, to not reacting at all, to staying completely indifferent. But even if you weren't able to do that, you are human, we are all human, we all react sometimes, especially if something unexpected happens, if something takes us aback, if something surprises us, if something that we didn't want, we didn't anticipate, something that opposes or we perceive it as opposing our manifestation happens. If it's something like that, it's actually okay to have an initial reaction. We are humans, we can allow ourselves to do that. What we don't want is to keep perpetuating the reaction. And that is the second step that I said is the most important and is actually the secret to not perpetuating the situation and not making things worse. This is where you tell yourself that it was okay, that you had an initial reaction, but you also tell yourself that whatever happened, whatever was said, whatever the incident, whatever the event, was actually just a manifestation of the old story. Old assumptions, all dominant inner states, and that you're actually now changing your state, you're living in a new reality, you're persisting in a new story, so you know it's going to change. Maybe that incident didn't reflect that change yet, maybe it's too early, maybe things need to shift still, you still need to persist, but in any event, you tell yourself that the situation is not set in stone, it's completely malleable, it's completely changeable, you are able to change it, you have the power within you to change it, you are actually changing it as we speak with your imagination, with the new reality that you're creating, and that sooner or later you are going to see it reflected in the 3D. So that's where you reassure yourself, you soothe yourself. You might want to attach a different label, a different meaning to whatever happened. You might want to attach a new story around it. You might want to revise it, or you might want to just tell yourself that it doesn't matter and stay indifferent to it. Or tell yourself that, it's still a sign that things are working out for me, regardless. Even if it looks like it's opposing my desire, it's still okay because everything is still working out for me perfectly. Everything is a perfect bridge to my manifestation. Whatever feels most natural to you, whatever feels best to you, whether it's revision, whether it's attaching a different meaning, a different label, perceiving it differently, or just telling yourself, it's for the best anyway, whatever happened, I'm getting my desire anyway, no matter what and regardless. It's okay, as long as you stop the internal reaction, you soothe yourself, you remind yourself that you have now shifted to a new reality, that whatever happened doesn't matter because it's going to change, or it's not going to matter in the final manifestation, and you just don't perpetuate the reaction. That's the most important thing, that's the most important step, and that is actually the secret to your initial reaction even not mattering, not ruining anything. Not that you can ever ruin your manifestation, but if you keep ruminating on things for weeks on end, months on end, it can actually delay things. It can actually confuse things and make them take longer to appear. So if you reacted, it's okay. Allow yourself to react. Tell yourself it's no big deal. Don't dwell on the fact that you reacted. Get back to your state where you know your new reality, you're persisting in your new reality. And then what's most important is that you don't continue with the reaction. You don't perpetuate the reaction in the days and in the weeks to come. Okay? You tell yourself, I'm now in my new story. Whatever happened in the 3D, it doesn't matter. My reaction doesn't matter. It means nothing. It still means that I'm getting my manifestation no matter what. And that's where you want to dwell. And that's where you forget even about the initial reaction and move on. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.